Whenever I show a Spright build on screen, the number one question I see is, why are you running Diva? Why are you not running Beaver? Why are you running the Beast? Why are you not running, you know, this? And so I'm just gonna do one talk about this real quick. Okay, so we're going to talk about what are the advantages and disadvantages of this, because let me be clear, I don't think there is a best one here. Now let's hop into solo mode and I'll show you. Genuinely, all of these kind of do the same thing, and I'll show you how they work real quick, just so we have the basics written down. Okay, the goal of these is just to have a good normal summon in Spright that puts level 2s onto the board, right? Like Diva is easy, you just go normal summon Diva, special summon another Diva. The advantages of Diva are they are water and they are tuner, which means you can add them back from the graveyard with Toad for later on uses, and you can go into Hulk, which there is a few Hulk lines that summon Hulkifibrax, then you summon Ash with it, and you bounce it later on with Swap Frog, which is a line that is neat, because you can play around like Super Poly and Dark Ruler and stuff like that by adding hand traps to your hand. Like, that's a cool thing. You don't do the line very often, and you can only do it if you draw Diva, of course, like, and you are wasting some extra deck slots for like Hulkifibrax and stuff to do that. But it is an advantage of Diva to have the flexibility to be able to go Hulkifibrax. You can play link climbing options, you can go into Unicore, Access Code, those kind of things. Those are the reasons to play Diva. If you come to the conclusion that you don't want to do the hand trap thing, you don't care that Diva is a tuner, right? Then Nimble Beaver is simply better than Diva, because for one simple reason, it does the exact same thing. It's a water monster, so you can also recycle it with Toad, but it can summon back the other Nimble Beavers from the graveyard, because it says deck or graveyard, which Diva cannot do. Diva only summons from the deck. So in a scenario where you summoned the first Beaver, summoned a second Beaver from the deck, and in some world where you top deck the third one, you can actually still use that, which you cannot do that with the third Diva. That's the advantage of Beaver. Like, if you don't care about the Hulk plays because you want to use your extra deck slots in other ways, which is totally reasonable, then Beaver is better than Diva. It can be hit by Bell. Actually, good point, chat. To be honest though, I don't think that's a big argument. First of all, Bell is very uncommon. Second of all, Bell does not destroy, so even if it gets belled, you still have the level 2 on the board. You can still extend with your sprites. Like, it's fine. It's absolutely fine if this gets belled. But like, you are right, technically it can get belled. So if this is your only play and they bell it, yeah. But Beaver and Diva are both relatively similar in what they do. They both just put 2 level 2s onto the board. Now, Dark Beckoning Beast is a little different. The way Beckoning Beast works is if you normal summon it, you add the spell to your hand, the opening of the Spirit Gates. You then activate the Spirit Gates, which on activation adds another Beckoning Beast. And then what it does is it allows you to normal summon a second time, right? You can normal summon a, Fiend monster with 0 attack and defense, which is itself, gives you a secondary normal summon. So it also puts 2 level 2s onto the board. Now, this play is different from the Beaver and the Diva play in a couple of ways. First of all, it's normal summons. It is not special summons, which means that this play gives you a significant advantage against Winda. You can out Winda with these by just normal summoning twice and then making Oniba Maru the Soul Sweeper, or whatever it's called. The rank 2 that banishes a monster from the opponent. You out Winda this way without having to special summon more than once, which is one of the advantages. The second difference, I'm not going to call it an advantage or disadvantage, is that you have to play the spell card. If you play one, the combo works if you draw the Beckoning Beast, but it's not as good if you draw the spell, because the spell technically also works. If you play the spell, you can just play the spell, activate, normal summon this. It still has a combo where you go normal summon, and here is if you have a second one in the deck, you would add it, then you would link into Almirage, and the way you combo in this line, this actually has a second effect. You can discard a card to bring back a Fiend with 0 attack from the graveyard. So you can discard either the second one you search or another card in your hand to bring back the second Beckoning Beast, and then you can make Spright Elf, you know, reborn the Beckoning Beast again, overlay into Gigantic, and so they are decent on their own. In this case, drawing just the spell is significantly better if you have a second one in the deck, simply because you give up the free add if you don't play a second one. It gives you a free send for Droplet if you play that, even though not many play this, but the main difference is this is a normal summon in general for this engine. Regardless of if you're opening the spell or the monster, it's a normal summon, which is good in some cases. And they're also darks, which means you can make Djinn Buster, and that can negate monster effects. So it's kind of neat that you are able to do this. To the disadvantages of this engine, it's not a tuner, it's not a water, so you can't recycle. You have to play at least one opening of the Spirit Gates, which these two engines clean 3 slots. This one, 4 to 5. You have to have the slots to be able to play this. My biggest issue with this engine engine is that you don't get the second monster onto the field immediately. Because, you know, you add the spell and then you add the monster and then you perform a second normal summon by the effect of your Dark Beckoning Beast on the field, which means that this card can be interrupted by, for example, a Tearlament Meta Noise to flip it face down, and then you don't have a second normal summon. You have no way of getting this into the graveyard to reborn it with the opening of the Spirit Gates, and you cannot currently special summon your Spright Blue, your Spright Jet, your other Spright cards. You cannot do that. It takes Ogre so hard, it does not. You are absolutely incorrect, Kuro. If you get Ogred on the normal summon here, it goes to graveyard and you simply use this effect to bring it back. It does not care about Ghost Ogre. That is not an argument. The argument is booking it. Booking it or getting it super poly. Basically, it's very weak to removal that does not send it to the graveyard. If it gets sent to the graveyard, it's fine. One thing that I have encountered with this engine is that, like, you make your plays and this card stays on the field, and if they don't get rid of it in like a grindy game, the reborn effect actually comes in handy in future turns. So that is one of the advantages of this engine. To come to a conclusion, I do not think that there is one best engine out of these three. Most of the time they're going to perform about the same. This one requires the most deck slots, which I think is the biggest downside to it. But genuinely, I think you can decide on your own which of these you want. I mean, now that you've seen this video, I hope you just understand the pros and cons of each individual engine. I don't think there is a best engine out here. I think it just depends on your build and what you're trying to do with it. But yeah, I hope you found this helpful to just understand which of these three you should be playing and what their respective pros and cons are. And without further ado, hope you found it helpful. Bye bye YouTube, back to stream. Check out the links in the description below, and peace out.